People who suffer from mania tend to be sociable, talkative, and energetic.
Hi.
And so do narcissists.
Hi. Tag yourself.
People reported she would say things like, "Why does this always happen to me?"
No. Anyone who ever says anything like that is guilty. Careful about your relationship with your cat, Lucy. I don't want you to go completely off the deep end when
Where'd they go?
one of them... Oh, God.
You are not
I'm making
here.
plans to get new friends because I knew that I would be targeted during this episode. I prepared myself.
Oh,
Yup.
he didn't care who saw that.
Well, he didn't care who saw, and we'll get to it. It gets crazy. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Oh, I'm excited for our recommended peering today.
Oh my gosh.
I have a new and exciting wine vocab to teach.
Oh.
Okay, well,
that.
first, let's do the topic. And
Yeah. Well, who are we?
first that. I'm Kenyon.
I'm Lucy.
I'm Amanda, and quick anecdote right out of the gate. Last night we had some friends over to watch the premiere of season 3 of I Think You Should Leave, and if y'all don't watch it, you're crazy. Anyway, one of the individuals, it's a comedy show with Tim Robinson on Netflix, and it's fucking absurd, and I'm obsessed with it. One of the guests that came over is someone that we had not met before, and we were just like chatting about what we do for a living, and I was talking about how I co-host a podcast, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so weird. Have you ever like listened to this podcast called Wine and Crime?" And I was like,
Are
yes.
you fucking with me?
In fact, no, he wasn't fucking with me. It was like actually real, and I was like, that has never happened before.
That's amazing.
No one has ever recommended our own podcast to me before. It was incredible.
That's a good feeling.
So shout out to Mikey.
Nice.
Ooh.
I was walking in a parking lot the other day, and there were these two cutie ladies walking in front of me, and they like looked back at me, and then they like whispered to each other, and then the other one looked back at me, and then I overheard her say, "No, I don't think it's her." And I was like,
It's not Gwyneth. I don't think it's Gwyneth.
It's me.
I didn't know. I'm too scarred from the coffee shop. So I said,
I'm scarred from the coffee shop.
So
love the
either
coffee
they
shop.
thought I was someone else and
Hilarious.
realized I wasn't, or they thought I was me and then thought that I wasn't. But either way, I don't know. But they had
You were recognized, baby.
maybe
You were recognized.
maybe, or they were like, "It's that girl. She farted in the Madewell."
It's definitely her.
Definitely
I
her.
still
It's her.
smell
It's
it.
definitely her. That is her flavor. So I don't know.
Oh, God. Yeah,
written
it's her.
all over her face.
And
It's her.
one who said, "No, I don't think it's her," had a vanity license plate that makes me believe that she is a type 1 diabetic.
Love that. What did it say?
It said type 1.
Ah, that's a sign.
It's a type 1 diabetic.
Oh my God, I just got an alert
I read
from
between the lines.
shopbushbeans.com that my order has been confirmed.
I'm still looking at the website.
Okay, explain.
I don't
It
know
was a-
how we got there.
It was a
Lucy.
targeted ad on my Instagram, the Bush's Baked Beans swag.
Merch.
It was
Yeah.
actually specifically the bucket hat. That's just a photo print of baked beans
Turns
all
out
over
their
a
merch
bucket hat.
is incredible.
Their
The baked
merch
beans
slaps.
merch slaps.
It
and
really
somehow,
fucking
right
slaps.
before we hit record, we were checking it out, and I might have gotten all of Amanda's wedding gifts from the
From
Bush's Baked Beans website.
Bush's Baked Beans.
In this house, we eat beans. Doormat.
Really good. I might get that doormat too.
In this house, we eat beans.
Actually, it circles back to the Madewell and to the
It's all
topic.
connected, you guys. We planned this.
The topic this week brought to you by us because we're having a gals pick summer.
We are. It is a hot gal summer.
Is it's always the quiet ones,
Oh.
not farts. But
No,
it usually
but
is.
those are also deadly.
Yeah.
More just like, the person you'd least expect. The person that you think is just like sweet and
Your
quiet.
helpful
and-
neighbor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the truth comes crashing in. All right. Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for It's Always the Quiet Ones?
Well, our pairing this week is the 2022 Just Because Tempranillo and Pinot Grigio blend from Quiet Mind Wines in Australia, mate.
Quiet Mind. It actually fits.
It really does. And this is a really fucking cool blend that I have never heard of before. I don't think I've ever drank a blended red white
No.
before. Because that's not what rosé is, people.
No.
So while I don't have the bottle in front of me, I can indeed order it online, which means most people in the US can also order it online from the winery. So I do encourage that you all go check out quietmindwine.com.au and you can peruse some of their inventory. They do small batch, so they don't have like a ton of different wines available, but it really seems like the ones they do are extremely special and unique, each one. But this one like really jumped out at me. When I saw Tempranillo Pinot Grigio, I was like, the fuck? I'm so curious about this.
Yeah.
So this is what they say about this particular oddball blend. Quote, just because, as in why not? Whilst this style will evolve over the years, it was born from watching the fruit coming into the winery in a couple of very tight years and deciding that a blend could be created just because that was the fruit we had access to. So they were just getting creative at a time when their yield wasn't super
around.
great. Yeah. 2022, we played with Tempranillo and Skin Contact Pinot Grigio. So Pinot Grigio that has fermented with more skin contact than the typical Pinot Grigio. As this fruit came in from two different growers this year, we didn't have the ability to do a co-ferment, but did maintain the carbonic style in the Tempranillo, with both varieties undergoing wild fermentation in the tank with 50% carbonic.
What is happening?
We'll
This
get
feels like
to
a
the
science
carbonic.
class.
Yeah, it's wild. So they spent 6 months in old barrels, and I also had no clue what a carbonic system was, so allow me to tell you what Wikipedia said. Carbonic maceration is a winemaking technique often associated with the French wine region of Beaujolais, in which whole grapes are fermented in a carbon dioxide-rich environment before crushing the juice out. During carbonic maceration, an anaerobic environment is created by pumping carbon dioxide into a sealed container filled with whole grape clusters. The carbon dioxide gas permeates through the grape skins. This is so fucking cool. And begins to stimulate fermentation at an intracellular level on the grape while it's still in its skin.
That like doesn't sound safe.
I mean, yeah, it does. Like,
It's a
really,
natural process.
it's a natural
Yeah.
process of fermentation. Like, you think about fruit that starts to rot on the vine. Like,
Yeah.
some of that process is just natural fermentation. It's like how we ended up with alcohol in the first place.
and
Yeah.
drunk squirrels that one time.
Exactly. The entire process takes place inside of each intact berry. Ethanol is produced as a byproduct of this process, but studies have shown that other unique chemical reactions take place that have a distinctive effect on the wine. How cool is that?
That's crazy.
I love
I'm
that.
obsessed. So this is a fun blend of Tempranillo and Pinot Grigio, which complement each other better than you would ever know. Lots of bright blue and red fruit, a pinch of 5-spice like baking spices and vanilla. That's definitely coming from the Tempranillo. And it has all the hallmarks of a youthful red wine that is super fun to drink with or without food. So it's a 75% Tempranillo, 25% Pinot Grigio blend. Its ABV is 12.7%. So it's like, it's robust, but it's not going to knock you on your ass. And it's a cracker, so you don't even need like special tools to open it.
I'm
It's like
eating
the perfect
crackers.
Wow.
Yum.
Crackers
So
all
I'll
around.
be sipping Spindrift grapefruit bubble water because we started at like 11-ish today and I'm not ready to get hammered.
Yeah.
We got stuff to do. I have gardening to do.
Yep. I gotta go figure out if I have voles or snakes in my front yard after this.
Why not both?
I hope
Being
for
35.
both. Slaps you in the ass.
Is it
Yeah.
really an issue if you have voles or snakes in your yard? They're outside.
Yeah, it's destroying the grass. There's like a very obvious patch of dead grass in our front yard and then little tunnels.
Those aren't snakes then.
Snakes make tunnels.
Yeah, I've been Googling. It could be either. Okay.
All right.
Crack. Nice crack. Moving on.
Give me some crack. Mama could use some crack right now.
Mama's about to crack.
Oh my God.
Lucy, what's our background and maybe psych for It's Always the Quiet Ones?
Well, I got a little bit of both for us today. So there is plenty of psychology to talk about when it comes to quiet ones. Unfortunately, for the length of my notes, it's very apparent and repetitive. So if we equate being quiet with having an introverted personality style, which I think is a fair assessment, then we do have a lot of psychological analyses. So the term introvert was first popularized by Carl Jung and implies an inward orientation to one's own mental life rather than outward towards social life. You just like to be by yourself. You are good enough. Is this new information to Amanda?
You were given a making, like, brunch plans.
Yeah, you are not
I'm making
here.
plans to get new friends because I knew that I would be targeted during this episode. I prepared myself.
You'll be othered.
It is my turn. I've been othering you for a minute.
Yes.
And I usually other Kenyon, but she's very fragile today.
Yes.
So I accept being othered.
I think of the three of us, I burn out pretty fucking fast.
You have a switch that goes off. And for me, I think that switch is maybe harder to reach, but I reached it at CrimeCon.
Yes.
Yes,
That first
you
year.
did.
And then I just disassociate, whereas Lucy will attack.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm fucking done.
It's fine. We know that as long as we
know
each other's triggers.
We accept this about you.
We've been friends for almost 30 years. We know.
Yeah. My switch is also, I try to push through my switch and then all hell breaks loose.
You don't really have a switch. You have like a minefield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Carl Jung, introverts gain energy from solitude and reflection and lose energy in social gatherings. So like, tag yourself, we just did. I would say for me personally, it's less reflection, more reality TV. I don't like reflecting. I just like being fucking by myself.
Reality TV does silence my otherwise very buzzy brain in a way that like almost nothing else does, except maybe marijuana.
Or The Office.
Yeah. But even The Office now, I've seen it so many times that I can like way too easily fixate on other stuff at the same time, or like let my mind wander and it like doesn't affect me tracking the show because I've just seen it too much now.
I have gotten really into the matchmaking shows on Netflix. So
Have you started the queer one?
No.
Oh, The Ultimatum?
Yeah, there's like a
Yeah.
queer Love is Blind sort of.
Oh, no, I'm talking about, it's literally Indian matchmaking is the first one, and then Jewish matchmaking is the second one.
Okay, so actual matchmaking, not like Love is Blind or
No, I don't
The
like
Circle.
love reality shows, but I like documentary style matchmaking shows is my new thing.
Okay.
You kind of are a matchmaker. You like
I
the
try.
puppeteering.
All of my matches
love to
have
be a puppet
ended
master.
disastrously, and that is for another
Yeah.
episode, but I do try.
Could be an
I made
unimpressed
one
episode.
temporarily
Yeah.
successful match.
Write it
It
down.
lasted like 4 years, and then it also ended kind of so
Yeah.
I don't dabble anymore.
My matchmaking is pretty much just making my sister hook up with people I think are cute, and then
Oh,
that
yeah,
ends
we did do
disastrously.
that
We
too.
did
We
try
helped
that.
one
I've done that a
time.
bunch.
Oops.
Well, that didn't end disastrously.
No.
One of them didn't.
Well, there's a handful.
We don't know about all the others that she's puppet mastered over the years.
Okay.
You're so scary. Oh my God.
I need to live vicariously. I've been married since I was 20.
Yeah.
Let
you
me have this.
honey. Good thing your husband's great because, like, that's a long time to be married without a really good 20s slut phase.
True.
You did well in college, though.
I did well. I banked.
Yeah. you banked and you spanked.
Crammed a lot into a few short years.
You really crammed. Proud of you.
No regrets. Okay. Introversion is just one end of a continuum on the opposite end of extroversion. Most people are a mix of both called ambiverts, like the vast majority. I mean, also introversion, extroversion, it's all, there's no like specific number. It's not like measurable.
No, it's a spectrum, and it's all kind of relative.
It's totally relative. So this is from Psychology Today. Introverts do not fear or dislike others, and they are neither shy nor plagued by loneliness. A crowded cocktail party may be torture for introverts, but they enjoy one-on-one engagement in calm environments, which is more suited to the makeup of their nervous system. It's a literal how your body and your brain is built.
Okay.
Evidence suggests that unlike with extroverts, the brains of introverts do not react strongly to viewing novel human faces. In such situations, they produce less dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter associated with reward. So they literally just don't particularly enjoy meeting new people.
Yep.
Could care less. Have enough friends.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Already forgot your name.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye.
Yep. Even as children, introverts prefer to observe first and act second. So it's not just adult behavior. It's literally something that's built into your brain. Introverts are more responsive to internally generated brain activity, from planning ahead to remembering the past. So they tend to have better memories. They tend to be more creative. They tend to there was one interesting part that I read that was like, when confronted with like social conflict, they don't necessarily like perform well because they're not used to performative behavior in front of other people. They need to like take in information and sit on it and process it and then react.
Sit on it, Howard.
Which I think makes sense. They are content with their own thoughts and don't need a steady stream of novelty and emotional arousal to experience pleasure. Quite the opposite, I would say. But I also feel like I can be really extroverted and social when it calls for it.
Sure.
Yeah, in little bursts and small doses, but also like the one-on-one aspect, like I would much prefer being at a cocktail party, but like having my little corner with people that I already kind of know well.
Your corner of intimacy.
My intimacy corner where we talk shit about everyone.
Love your
Bow of the
intimacy
boat
corner.
at our
Which
10-year
is
class reunion.
Yes. With
this
Kyle bringing us
podcast.
shrimp. Yeah,
Right?
this is your intimacy corner.
Yeah. Yeah. And the going like straight to like brass tacks. Like, okay, tell me about
I don't want
your relationship
small
with
talk.
your mother.
Yeah. I don't want to get to know you. I want the
Limited
deep, dark
capacity
tea.
for small talk.
Yeah.
Shallow bullshit.
Don't give a shit about the weather or how
Yes.
you've been. I won't remember any of it, but like talk to me about your trauma.
What
Right.
is
Trauma.
the worst thing you've ever done?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who is your favorite? What is your favorite communicable disease?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
That's a good icebreaker.
What are the symptoms of syphilis? I hope
On
that
speak
episode
to
has
text.
aired by the time this airs, or
I
that'll
think
be really
it has.
confusing.
I think it will have. But if it hasn't, this will all make sense in GAC people.
Oh my God.
We're trying to get ahead, and it makes things a little confusing for our throwbacks. Might be a throw forward. We don't know. Keep you on your toes, bitches.
But yeah, I'd prefer to just no front. I will gladly
I'm an
let you
open
know
book.
that I'm the fucking weirdo,
Yeah.
and I'll ask you really bizarre, straightforward questions upon our first meeting.
Yep. And if
Cut
you
through the
can't
bullshit.
hang,
If you can't hang, you can't bang.
yeah.
Honestly, so much of my extroversion is anxiety. I have social anxiety for sure. So like if I'm in a room that I can command and control, I feel much more comfortable. So that's why I like perform.
Command and control.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fucked up too, y'all.
We are all ambiverts. So it might seem like there are more extroverts than introverts in society, which makes sense because introverts are at home watching reality TV
Introverted.
and recharging. But also consider how American culture values assertiveness and encourages people speaking up. Use your
Participation
voice.
points.
Get out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense that ambiverts that skew towards introversion feel social pressure to behave more extrovertedly in certain situations, which more or less to just get the job done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or to socialize in the expected manner.
Hi, do you like podcasts? Do you like true crime? Do you drink wine? No? That's okay.
Goodbye.
Aren't there like coffee shop? There's like it's like some like Northern European thing where you like go, but it's like specifically to go read a book by yourself. There's no socializing expected at all.
Scandinavia is very good for introverts. There's a lot built into the culture to help introverts just live their lives peaceably.
Hygge. So introversion, as I said, is not the same as shyness. Shy people typically want to engage with others but are fearful of doing so. On the other hand, introverts generally socialize easily. They just don't fucking want to. Introversion is also not the same as being antisocial, which is a personality characteristic commonly associated with serial killers. So I think we're all guilty of being like on a Friday night, like I'm just feeling kind of antisocial.
Right. Then that's
not
the
really
same.
what you mean.
No.
You mean
I just don't want to.
non-social.
I'm feeling overstimulated and I just want a night to myself is
Right.
really what that is.
Right.
Yes, but that is not what antisocial means.
Exactly.
So the term antisocial is commonly used to describe someone who lacks compassion towards others and has no sense of right and wrong. At an extreme, it can be classified as a personality disorder.
Well, when it comes to my case, we can kind of debate if we think my person is antisocial or not.
Ooh, I
Okay.
love that. I love to speculate and diagnose.
Antisocial people are often impulsive, which can lead to aggression and violence when they get upset, while introverts tend to withdraw from social situations and internalize their feelings. Friendships-wise, introverts are all about quality over quantity. I have enough friends. Whereas antisocial people might be the opposite because they often can't function within a close relationship because they tend to put themselves first.
Oh, so they're always having to move on to the next relationship because they're not nurturing their
Correct.
regular relationship.
My ex, the lone wolf who finally found his wolf pack.
Yeah.
Their anniversary's coming up. Should I send them a love
Stop. I can't.
Hey, who gives a shit? They left it out on the internet
They did.
for any idiot to find.
Oh my God. Well,
Well,
it took
that's
these
really hard
idiots
to
quite a
find
while.
It's actually really hard to find, but I did it.
You did do it. Nailed it.
Okay, so we often hear news stories about like mass shooters or murderers that describe the killer as being a loner, maybe someone who doesn't have many friends or lived a secluded lifestyle, like a quiet guy who spent most of his time in his room,
Literally my case.
which might suggest that that person is an introvert. So I found a really good article from Psychology Today again, my on the side boyfriend.
You have a lot of side pieces and they are all luscious.
It's like me between the ages of 18 and 20 and a half.
Exactly. You had a lot of ground to cover, honey, and you did it.
Fucking did it.
Proud of
Okay, thank you. Was I a slut? Whatever. It was college.
No, you were free.
you. You were sex positive, free
Yeah.
thinking, consensual adult.
Had to cram a lot in.
Which, sure, that could also be a slut. I love a good slut. I
Love a
was a
good
fucking
slut.
slut.
Hell yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Your back scratcher at first glance looked like a drain snake.
Oh my God.
Which would be a great back scratcher.
Also a throwback to GAC.
Yeah. The toilet brush.
Accidental toilet brush.
You're like a
I
possum
will never recover.
who knew the joy of a barbecue grill brush on its back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, anyway.
We're all over the place. No one is going to understand what the fuck we're talking about. Okay.
I love us.
Okay, a quiet guy who spent most of his time in his room. So I found this article basically about our exact subject, and this article was using a guy named Joseph McAndrew as an example. Does that name sound familiar?
No.
So
Is it the movie theater shooter?
no.
Oh, okay.
This was in 2011. Joseph stabbed his parents and his twin brother to death
Oh,
with
I
an
came across
18-inch
this.
dagger/sword.
Yeah, I chose not to do this case because it kind of grossed me out at first glance. So I'm glad you're covering it.
Yeah, so he was described by the district attorney as, quote, a loner and an introvert, but I don't think that was accurate because he had very evident mental illness that contributed to this. And this is not to say that you can't be both an introvert and antisocial, but they are
They're
two
not the same
different
thing.
things.
Yeah.
They're not
Right.
the same thing. Okay, so here's the article. I'm sure this formulation is as familiar to you as the story itself. The media often brings us tales of shy, quiet, introverted killers. I'm not disputing that Joseph McAndrew was a quiet guy who kept to himself. The article reports that he spent most of his time alone in his room. But McAndrew was not just introverted. He was deranged. He'd been struggling with mental illness, possibly schizophrenia, for many years. And herein lies the problem. People who suffer from psychoses often withdraw from the world. Technically, they are introverted in the sense of having turned inward. But they are not introverts in the sense that most people use that word to connote a person who has a rich inner life and prefers low stimulation environments. So the company of a close friend to a big group or a quiet game of tennis compared to bungee jumping.
Yeah, it's
very
what it comes
different.
down to is us using this, like society using this terminology incorrectly.
Yeah.
Correct.
And applying it where it really actually doesn't apply. It's like become this blanket term.
Well, I
when
feel like loner
has different connotations.
skews more towards the antisocial piece. I wouldn't necessarily call an introvert a loner.
No.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
call you or I loners.
Or
Right.
Bill. He's
Right.
much more introverted and he has a very rich social life. He's definitely not a loner.
Right.
And like I said, being introverted doesn't mean you are lonely.
Exactly.
Right.
Just, recharges solo.
Mm-hmm. In fact, studies show that introverted young people are less prone to violence and delinquency than extroverts are. They also smoke less and use fewer drugs. So here's another way to look at the problem. People who suffer from mania tend to be sociable, talkative, and energetic.
Hi.
And so do narcissists.
Hi. Tag yourself.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Hi, mama.
Why not both? You're doing great, mama. Hi.
It is also true that a narcissist is more likely to be an extrovert than an introvert, but that does not mean that extroversion equals mania or narcissism.
It's just like how shy is not the same thing as introvert.
Yes.
Narcissist is not the same thing as extrovert.
Yes. I just think we need to be aware of how we use these terms, especially when you're trying to apply them to like a psychological analysis of a person.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's all this is to say it's not always the quiet ones.
No.
But yeah,
It's definitely become a trope.
it's
more
definitely
than
a trope.
reality.
Yeah. I think it is important to kind of draw all these different distinctions and not say one thing when we actually mean another.
Good. So that is my segment. Kind of a
Cool.
little
Well
shorty for
done.
today. Thanks. But yeah, I'm
I liked
excited
it.
to speculate about Kenyon's person.
Yeah.
Me too. We'll have some speculation for you in my case as well.
Excellent.
So you get a nice healthy dose of wild speculation today.
Perfect.
So, my case.
No.
Couple preface things.
Okay.
One is that the names of the family members are different in different sources online,
Got it.
Oh.
which is really annoying.
Not confusing at all.
So
I don't know what you
confusing.
mean.
It's so fucking confusing. And also the names are kind of similar to each other because they're like all family names.
Okay.
So it's a little bit hard to keep track. And some sources also don't even use the names. They just go by like the relationships.
Uh-huh.
Whatever. I am going
Did
by...
you have to make a whole graph?
There's a chart.
Oh,
Did you make
I
it?
love that you did a chart.
Yes.
Oh my
And
God.
I'm going with the names highlighted.
Okay.
God bless
Great.
you.
But if
This is
you
brilliant.
are like reading about this case and you're like, well, Kenny got it wrong and the name is
Then
this.
fuck you. Just fuck
You're
you,
in the
man.
other column.
Yeah. Suck it.
You're just in the other column and
the
I
fucking
I
no.
looked really hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Janie Lou Gibbs, nay Hickox,
Oh.
was born on Christmas Day, 1932, in Cordelia, Georgia.
Critma day. Don't worry about it. It's a theater thing. It's fine.
It's a
wouldn't.
theater thing.
Oh God,
It's for us theater girlies.
it's for us theater extroverts. Lucy was on crew for like half a minute.
Amanda
You did
and
a
I
show
did
with
crew.
me. We did costumes for guys and dolls, and we caused a ruckus.
It was just so I could hang out in the boys' dressing room.
1000% until Blick Bailey got us banned.
What a ditty!
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. He was jealous
had-
of all the attention we were getting.
1000%. Suck it, Blick. Then I officiated your wedding, so it turned out fine. But
And
whatever.
now he's one of our closest friends. Suck it, Blick.
Now he's one of my closest confidants.
I'm so
Suck it.
pissed at him, though. I'm going to bring that up at your wedding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bring it up at the groom's dinner. Make a toast.
Cheers
Insist.
to everyone except for Blick.
Who got us kicked out of the dressing room. If you insist on making a toast just to harass Blick Blaley, I will hand over the mic willingly. I'm in.
I'll bring my headset.
All right, back to
Girl.
Janie Lou Gibbs.
Lucy shows up to my wedding with a Britney Spears smile.
I'll have a
This thing
binder. All right. Where she was born on Christmas Day is the watermelon capital of the world. Down
Where's
there in Georgia.
Georgia? I thought that was the peach capital. Is it both?
Well, this town
So much
in
produce.
Georgia.
Oh.
Whoa.
Lucy whispers, so much produce in Georgia.
Produce.
All right. She was brought up in a very strict household, and in typical strict household fashion, Janie Lou got married young. We're talking very young. She
Like
was
child bride young.
She was just 15 years old when she married her husband, Charles Gibbs. I believe he was 6 years older than her and was already working full time as an appliance repairman.
Fucking yikes.
That's too old.
yeah. And that's too young to get married.
You're
But she
automatically 60 if you're a appliance repairman.
Right. She
So
wanted
true.
out of
It ages
her parents' control, I think, but then she still
was
lived
in
a-
someone else's control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the couple moved to, I don't really know how to say this, Arabi, Georgia. Arabi, I think.
Okay.
And had 3 sons together. Roger, possibly spelled differently, possibly Robert. Everything is annoying.
Okay.
So we're going to go with Roger, Melvin, and Marvin.
Ebert. Got it.
Melvin and Marvin?
Yeah, not twins.
Oh, God.
Yikes.
They had a baby, and then 3 years later, they said, let's just name this baby something really similar.
I feel like someone had a mouthful of marbles and was actually referring to Melvin, but it came out sounding
Marvin.
like Marvin, and so they put that on the birth certificate. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm going with.
Yep.
Did you know Oprah's name was supposed to be Orpah, and they
Yeah.
misspelled it on the birth certificate?
Yeah, Orpah is a character in the Bible, and that's what she was supposed to be named after, and it just got written wrong, and then it just became entrenched.
I had no idea.
Isn't that cool?
That's incredible.
So apparently that shit happened all the time.
Wow.
But Oprah does sound better than Orpa.
It really does.
It does
It really
now.
does. I think it always would have, because Orpa sounds like orca.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
but it's
whale.
a biblical name. That was the
I
point.
guess.
yeah,
but
there are lots
still.
of so is Nimrod.
Yeah. She's not fucking wrong.
I love the name Nimrod. So is Dorcas.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Keep all
yeah,
these names
exactly.
for if and when.
Nimrod.
Let's just
Dorcas.
promise right now, if I have a child, their name shall
Nimrod,
be
Dorcas.
Nimrod, Dorcas, Orpa, Jacobson, Hoban.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Okay. So she's married to an appliance repairman, and she's got 3 boys, and they're all like 3 years apart. The boys.
So her life sucks.
Roger,
Continue.
Melvin, Marvin. For most of her life, Janie Lou Gibbs was a dedicated and super involved church member. She was known in the congregation for all the volunteering she did. She also ran a daycare for, quote, working mothers.
Okay.
Progressive.
Names. Yeah.
Yeah, not so much. But Janie Lou also loved to cook, and her family had a strong family dinner tradition. Everyone had to be home for dinner, sit around the table. You know,
Yeah.
dinner's
I kind of
important.
want to like bring that back in my household.
That's how I grew up. It was very annoying.
I know. It doesn't need to be as rigid, but we like never sit at the table to eat.
Well, but you eat together.
We eat together usually, but a lot of the time, like I'm recording or, whatever. A lot of the time, if I'm recording, I text him drunk. This is what I want to eat. He starts cooking it, and then I emerge from my cave drunk,
Right.
eat it on the couch, and then we smoke a bunch of weed and like goof off and then go to bed.
That's a family dinner.
That's basically a family dinner. It's bonding
It
time.
is. You're right.
We tend
It
to
is.
eat dinner together, but sitting on the floor at the coffee table. Although that's changed a little bit with the baby now.
Yeah, because, she sits up and she eats solids.
Yeah.
Oof.
It
She's
sucks.
growing too fast.
Okay. She also would love to cook for her daycare clients and for people in her church. So she did a lot of cooking. One night in 1965, Janie Lou's husband, Charles, suffered severe stomach pains and was quickly taken to the hospital. Janie Lou was beside herself and went to the hospital to bring him some homemade soup. See if he could hold that down and get his strength back. But sadly, he succumbed to his illness quickly
Gee,
Oh, shit, he died?
from a
He died.
bellyache?
from a bellyache.
Oh, no.
Doctors believe that he died of liver disease that had not been previously diagnosed, because before this, he had seemed quite healthy and he wasn't very old. He was in his 30s.
That's
Sheesh.
fucking weird I often have belly aches that make me think I'm dying, but I haven't actually died.
Yeah.
New
Well,
fear.
you've gotten close.
Yeah.
Although newspapers later printed that it was a heart attack, but that might have just been like an accident of reporting, just assuming like this guy died. It was probably a heart attack, but the doctors thought it was this liver disease.
Okay.
Ultimately, no one was really sure why a seemingly healthy man had died out of the blue. They wanted to do an autopsy, but Janie Lou was against it, saying that she didn't want to see her husband sliced up, and she was just like beside herself because
Just have to watch.
happened. I know, but a lot of people
But
have
after the
feelings
fact-
about that.
I
Yeah.
know.
I don't get it.
I want to be sliced and
I would
diced.
want to know.
Yeah.
I'm more curious. My curiosity outweighs my like caring about my loved one being
Right.
chopped.
It's
open.
also 1965, and they're quite religious.
Yeah, it's a religious thing and for a lot of people too.
Yeah. So she said she just wants him to rest in peace, and the doctors decide to go with the widow's wishes, and they just have Charles Gibbs buried.
Okay.
So not surprisingly, Janie Lou, now 33 years old, became the beneficiary of his life insurance policy. But I mean, she's his wife, and she's now left to support 3 kids on her own. So
She's earned it.
yeah. And she also did tithe at her church. So she's spreading those benefits around.
Okay.
So things are going as well as can be expected until 8 months later, Janie Lou's youngest son, Marvin, starts to complain of stomach pains.
No.
Young Marvin died on August 29th, 1966. He was just 13 years old.
Okay, something's off.
She's taking him out.
Yeah, this is starting to seem like a poisoning situation.
Doctors attributed his death to inheriting the same liver disease that they guessed that his father had had. So
They
were
didn't
like-
even fucking confirm a diagnosis.
But they were like,
now they're applying it to another dead person in the house.
correct.
Child.
No! Guys!
And on Marvin's death certificate, it actually lists hepatitis as the cause of his death.
But they don't even actually know. How are you allowed to do that?
1966.
She won't let him cut him up. Probably
It was
again.
the 60s. I know, but then cause of death should be kept unknown. You can't just put a random cause of death. Oh, that pisses me
You
off.
could in the 60s.
Again,
Fucking
this is
pisses
a
me
total
off.
guess because Janie Lou convinced doctors to skip the autopsy and let her poor son rest in peace.
Come on. Cut him up.
Janie Lou again received a life insurance payout, which isn't sketchy at all to have a life insurance policy on your 13-year-old son in the 1960s.
No.
I don't even know if I have a life insurance policy. Should probably figure that
probably
out.
do.
You should probably.
And
do that.
okay. It's not that sketchy to have one at that age, but if she took one out, because like whole life insurance policies that you take out when your baby
For
is
the
born
kid.
are for the kid, are very common. But then if the kid dies, the beneficiary until that child is like 18 and can take over their policy, because I had one or have one. And when I took it over, then I could set my beneficiary. But until I set it, it was just my parents.
Right. It's still pretty
I do
rare.
have one. It's in my to-do pile.
Yeah, it's really not that rare for children to have a life insurance policy. A lot of people buy a whole, and they're like, my grandpa was a life insurance salesman, and this was like a whole thing. Certainly in the 60s, like literal door-to-door salesman being like, oh, I hear you're in the family way. You should buy this policy.
Right.
So like that in and of itself isn't that sketchy, but it also makes it depends on when she took out the policy.
I need someone to explain to me whether or not I want a term or a whole life policy.
For
and
yourself
why.
or for Sonia?
Both.
Ah, okay.
Or just me.
We can
and Zach.
discuss.
Because I'm confused. Which one is a better deal?
I mean, I don't know, but I would recommend
Depends
looking
how
into whole
depends when you're
life.
going to die.
Well, and also now you wouldn't, at 35, you probably wouldn't want a whole life insurance policy because you've missed out on 35 years of contributing to it.
Right.
If you take one out for your baby, like if she needs to borrow against it for any
Right.
reason, she can do that. When like for college, things like that, like that makes sense. But for you, I think it's probably too late. You probably would want
if
a
you
term
get a
life
term
insurance.
life insurance for 30 years, what happens if I get one now and then I'm 65 and then it's ending? What
Then
I
you're allowed
imagine you
to
could
die.
extend it.
You can extend it?
I imagine you can. That would be between
Somebody
you
let
and your
us
insurance
know.
salesman.
I'm very
Yeah.
confused
Let
by
Kenyon
life insurance.
Someone email Kenyon specifically.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay.
I have
So
enough
she-
on my plate. I don't want this shit too.
It's been on my plate since I was pregnant to get this in place. Anyway,
Well, on the air is the perfect time to make
let's
that
love
figure
it.
out. Let's hash it out.
We're helping people. She said her case today was short. You knew she would have to pad it.
Yes.
Okay.
She warned us.
So, it's fine because she gets a life insurance policy and she again donates to the church. Mm-hmm. So now it is 1967, and wouldn't you know it, the same darn thing happens again. This time, Janie Lou's middle son, Melvin, reports stomach aches, cramping, and headaches. And then very suddenly, Melvin dies on January 23rd, 1967.
Are they
Oh
dropping?
my
Are they dropping
God.
in birth order, or was the
Reverse.
first son? Okay.
Oh,
youngest,
she's going oldest.
middle.
So yeah.
Husband, youngest, middle so far.
Wow. Okay.
So doctors this time guessed that the 16-year-old had a rare muscular disorder and was buried without an autopsy.
Good God.
Janie Lou again got a life insurance policy and gave some of the money to her church. So really, the church is cleaning up in all of this.
Yeah. They're complicit.
Yeah. And they're getting free cooking and free daycare. So all the poor woman has left now is her eldest son, maybe named Roger, who at 19 has just become a father to a baby boy named fucking Ronnie.
Oh my God.
Ish.
So Janie Lou is seen walking around town with her new grandson, beaming with joy, and everyone in the community is so happy for her to finally become
Don't let her
a
near that
grandma.
grandkid. No.
After everything this poor woman has gone through from the
Oh.
watermelon
Now she-
capital of the world.
No, this is gonna go.
All that
This is gonna
produce.
get dark. She's gonna fuck around with that baby. I'm not.
She's
cool.
so happy.
No.
What do you mean? She's so happy. She
No.
loves her grandbaby.
No, she gonna kill her grandbaby.
She loves that little grandbaby boy, Ronnie.
I can smell it.
Ronnie,
can
you're
smell
Ricky,
the
you're
death.
Robert.
Oh,
The
Roger.
impending death.
People reported she would say things like, "Why does this always happen to me?"
No, anyone who ever says anything like that is guilty.
But losing her husband and two of her sons all within the same year, basically, is just chalked up to an unbelievable stroke of bad luck. She still has the complete trust of the town that she lives in. Everyone talked about how kind and courageous she is, and sometimes bad things happen to good people, and God works in mysterious ways.
Good Lord.
Okay.
She still has dozens of children coming to her in her daycare that she runs.
And they're all alive.
For now.
And everyone is still eating the food she makes at church events.
No.
Every week.
Oh no.
But then, at just 1 month old, her grandbaby Ronnie dies suddenly.
No, I
This
knew it was coming,
bitch.
but still no.
It's fucking awful. His family is fucking devastated, and Ronnie's mother demands an autopsy.
Good for her.
But doctors told her that due to his family's history of sudden death, there was, quote, no point in doing one
No,
since
that's
Ronnie
the opposite.
most likely died of natural causes.
Oh my
it comes
God.
from weak
Just
Stop.
like we guessed, but didn't actually determine on all the other autopsies.
Well,
None of that was proven.
His grandfather died suddenly, and both of his uncles died
It
suddenly.
runs in the family.
It runs in the family. So what's the
this
point?
is so fucking dumb that with all the repeat issues, you wouldn't want to investigate more. Oh, I'm furious. I'm so mad.
1 month later, Roger, baby Ronnie's father, died.
Ugh. Jesus Christ.
So now it's her husband, all three of her sons, and her grandson.
It's everyone she's related to.
She's killed 5 people. 5 people.
Four of
time-
which were children. Well, 3.
4.
4 and a baby.
Well, by the time
Oh, her
the
son
older
was
one died, he's
19.
like,
Yeah, but he was
19.
19. He's still a kid.
Teen is still child, I think.
I'm
He's
just
definitely-
saying.
So Roger's widow, her fucking mother-in-law has just killed her son and her husband. And so Roger's widow now insists on
Yeah.
a fucking autopsy and a full investigation into the deaths of both her son and husband.
Good girl.
And lo and behold, they find that Roger died of arsenic poisoning.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. After the fucking first one, I was like,
So it didn't take long for Janie Lou to be called in for questioning by police and ultimately arrested. The rest of the bodies were exhumed and tested at the cemetery, so none of them had been cremated, thank goodness.
Would have been a lot cheaper to do it before you buried him.
All had been poisoned with arsenic. During her interrogation, Janie Lou is quoted as saying, "I don't question God's work. The Bible says they will get their reward, and I'm sure they will."
it's your work, bitch.
Shut the fuck up.
God has nothing to do with you being a murderous cunt. Sorry about it.
But eventually, Janie Lou breaks down and admits to killing her entire fucking family one by one.
Wow.
She slowly poisoned them all with arsenic and rat poison. Her husband didn't die at first, though, so the soup that she brought to the hospital had more arsenic in it than the original dose and finished him off.
When they do it in the hospital, it's particularly egregious.
Right.
He
It's like they're
loves
so
almond soup.
oh God. I bought your favorite. Almond soup. Oh, they're so close to help. And yet.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're just like going into the one place a person's supposed to be
lion's
safe
mouth.
and cared for.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
While
is
awaiting
especially
trial,
egregious.
Janie would stare into space, and her behavior really disturbed people. She couldn't keep a lawyer, and the prosecutor called it one of the saddest cases he'd ever worked on.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Did she just, like,
Shut down.
yeah.
Ugh.
Finally,
Woof.
she was declared mentally unfit for a trial and was sent to a mental institution where she worked as a fucking
cafeteria lady.
cook
No.
at the psych ward.
What? Who is in charge here?
No. No. This is
It's kind of funny.
so fucking stupid.
But I found out
This
she
is
worked
so
as a
stupid.
cook at the mental ward after she poisoned
Her entire family.
It's not funny, but like, what the fuck, you guys?
Any other job? You can't make this shit up. It's so bad.
What? It's so stupid.
I mean, apparently it went well as far as we know.
We're gonna skip those
No,
last
it
couple seasons. You know what? We know she loves to cook.
She
at the
loves
church.
to cook. She loves to cook. That almond
Granny
soup.
loves to cook.
It's Tuesday. It's almond soup
Tuesday.
day.
Time for almond soup.
All the patients are
Almond
real
soup
quiet
Tuesday.
after Janie Lou's cooking. That's how you know it's the
Widespread
Wednesday.
weight loss in that fucking poor mental facility
Everybody's
because
doing
people are
the weight
just
loss.
refusing to eat anything she cooks. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Did anyone die?
No, not that we know of. But also,
Maybe
they weren't keeping very good track of people dying outside of a mental
No.
prison. So
And also,
Shit, it's a mental institute. They don't. If someone dies,
In
it's
the
like one less
60s.
person to feed.
yeah, to be
I-
poisoned.
But also,
And,
she
like-
probably would have had access to arsenic in there. But still,
No, but I was
Probably.
literally just gonna say, like, if she's,
Bug killer.
I'm speculating, but if
Rat
she's like
poison.
managing that kitchen for the
Yeah.
most part, they would have pest control stuff in there.
Oh no!
So she probably could get access to like rat poison, or at least
Plausible.
would know where it's kept, even if she's not technically supposed to fuck around with it.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, as far as we know, she didn't. But
Jesus
That's a miracle.
fucking Christ.
so this sentence of her being mentally unfit for trial didn't sit right with the community, and many people.
Many papers.
Many papers.
Jeepers creepers.
Papers crashed.
Many people gathered to say that she did know right from wrong and that she deserved to be in jail. And actually, even a chaplain at the mental institution agreed, probably after
Eating her almond soup.
after having a bad lunch. So Janie Lou Gibbs did eventually stand trial and was sentenced to 5 life sentences. While she was in jail, she was often visited by her sister, her only living relative.
Yeah, the
Don't
only one who
visit.
didn't like her cooking.
Just call.
Yeah, just please call. Just text,
The
please.
sister wanted some kind of explanation as to why she did what she did, but it was just pretty futile. So all of at these visits, she would ask questions like, "Why did you do it? Do you feel guilty? Like, can I help you?" Like, and she was just answered with, "I don't know." Like, she just never, ever gave an explanation.
No real motive. I mean, like, money, sure, but that it's not enough.
even.
But she gave it half of it away, probably.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because she's supporting the church.
Tithing's
It's
supposed
so
to be
weird.
I think it's supposed to be 10%.
Yeah, and, you know, like, she had to support the kids on her own. It was not for money. There's no logical explanation. In 1999, Janie Lou Gibbs was released from prison after being denied parole 17 times. She was released on medical reprieve shortly after receiving a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, and she was released into the custody of that sister.
I don't trust any diagnosis in this story.
No one gave a shit.
I need an autopsy on Janie Lou before I let her out of prison.
To make sure she has Parkinson's.
Seriously.
Oh, no.
The last few years of her life was spent in a wheelchair in a nursing home in Georgia, and she died on February 7th, 2010, and she has never given any kind of explanation or excuse for any of her crimes.
Oh,
Wow.
she remained a quiet one.
Till death. Yeah. Damn.
And also just makes you think about, like, the people in nursing homes. Like, you don't know the life that they led.
Well, maybe in an upcoming episode, we'll talk about some of that.
Oh, DBC.
Yep.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm excited about that one, too.
Anyway, so that's my case. It was short and kind of, like, obvious, but still just weird.
It
Really
was
fucking
perfect.
creepy. She became a cook.
She became a cook. I know, there are photos.
I, like, hated it and loved it so much simultaneously.
There are
Yeah.
photos on the drive, and, like, decades in prison will, like, do a number on you.
Whoa, girl.
No way. That's a transformation.
Yikes.
Also, look at the black and white photo. Janie Lou Gibbs holding pictures of her sons.
Yeah.
Ew.
Look at, she's kind of smiling.
Yeah, her face is a little sketchy.
Oh, her kids are so cute.
She's kind of like smirking, smiling in this photo.
She just looks like a sweet little grandma in this, like, first Janie Lou Gibbs elder photo. It's sort of like, if you look at that elderly photo of her and then the photo of her, like, after she's been in, or at trial or whatever, where she looks like a real mess.
She's melted.
It reminds me of, like, every president's before and after their term photo. It's like, they've been rode hard, put away wet.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow. She is awful. Fuck this bitch.
Yeah.
This is insane. I just read something that I did not read before.
What?
In a long, tearful interview several weeks ago, this was in 1967.
Okay, so I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah. And published yesterday in the local newspaper, Mrs. Gibbs told of the deaths of all her relatives. Quote, "I never thought any of them would die," she said. "I just tried to keep it out of my mind. It will be the loneliest Christmas I have ever spent."
Ew! Gross.
Oh.
I wonder if maybe she had, some of her motive was like that, take pity on me, give me some
Yeah.
attention.
Munchausen thing.
Yeah, kind
Yeah.
of that Munchausen thing.
Ugh.
God, she's so gross. I hate her. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Janie Lynn.
Boo.
Boo.
All right. Sorry, just had to add that. That was the craziest quote I'd ever seen.
Are you ready for my case?
No.
I don't know what to tell you.
Keep going.
Doing it. Okay, so there are, and obviously have been, so many fucking shootings in this country that it doesn't come as a surprise to me that I, like, wasn't familiar with this one, despite it being fairly famous. This shooting occurred on Friday, August 24th, 2012 at the Empire State Building in, you guessed it, New York City.
What?
Oh.
Who knew? At 9:03 a.m. on that day, a 58-year-old man named Jeffrey Johnson arrived at the building where he once worked as a clothing designer at Hazan Imports for 6 years before being let go due to downsizing at the company. Though he had been laid off almost a year before this incident, his neighbors reported seeing him leave his apartment morning after morning, dressed in a suit, seemingly heading off to work.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. These people
What-
creep me out.
Yes.
What he actually did during work hours is somewhat of a mystery, though witnesses recall seeing him regularly getting breakfast at a nearby McDonald's and then returning home to just like sit quietly in his apartment.
Sit quietly.
And I know a person who like did this. I have a friend whose ex lied about a job that they got in the Twin Cities at like a very specific place that we later were able to confirm through someone else we discovered worked there, that she had never actually worked there. But she would like get up every morning and get dressed, quote unquote, for work and leave and just like drive around or like park at a parking lot until it was like reasonable for her to go back home.
What a waste of time. Use that time looking for
weird.
a job.
Well, she used that time cultivating a fake cancer diagnosis to trick everybody with.
Yeah.
She used it wisely.
She had a lot that she had a lot of balls in the air.
Psychologically extremely unwell. But anyway, obviously that was a whole saga, and I'm not going to name any names, but you two know exactly who I'm talking about. So Jeffrey Johnson's building superintendent and neighbors described him as quiet and polite, and someone who was seen every morning, like wearing a suit, greeting his neighbors, saying good morning, whatever. Quote, he was always alone, said Gisela Casella, who lived a few floors above him. I always felt bad. I said, doesn't he have a girlfriend? I never saw him with anybody. Jeffrey was a pretty chill dude. He was born in Japan in 1953 to a Japanese mom and an American dad, but was primarily raised in the United States, coming to Gainesville, Georgia when he was less than a year old. He was like 10 months old. So he doesn't like remember living in Japan at all. From Wikipedia, quote, he served in the United States Coast Guard from 1973 to 1977 and was honorably discharged with the rank of Petty Officer Second Class. He also was like a very skilled marksman.
Uh-oh.
Johnson attended the Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida from 1978 to 1980.
This man has like the saddest names
weirdest
of
life
things on his resume.
Yo.
Like
Petty officer.
Petty officer second class, which is like
Ringling College.
actually a nice thing with like the worst name ever. Petty
Truly.
officer second class.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ringling College of Art and Design.
Why does someone take me
can't.
seriously with my degree from Ringling College?
Uh-oh. You're maybe nailing some of it.
Oh no.
He also owned a t-shirt design company called St. Jolly's Art. He was briefly married, but did not have children as far as I know, and divorced, I think, after like 4 years. He was also involved with a community of bird watching photographers who were interested in hawks in Central Park.
Hawks are dope.
They are dope. His snapshots regularly appeared on blogs tracking the birds in the area. I just don't think anyone on the planet would have suspected like a clown college graduate birdwatcher to snap, but as they say, it's always the quiet ones.
Wait, was it really a clown college?
I just associate Ringling with clowns. I don't think it was actually a clown college, but like
I'm
in
Googling
this
it.
fabrication, that's what we're calling it. What does it say?
No, graphic design, animation, creative writing.
Clowns.
Doesn't
Clowning.
list clowns.
Clowning. Well,
Does
just because it's their dirty little secret doesn't mean they don't do it. Just say it. They clowning.
Notable alumni, David Bromstad.
Who's
that?
Linda Ronstadt?
David Bromstad is the Minnesotan guy on HGTV with all the tattoos who does My Lottery Dream Home.
What? He's Minnesotan?
Yeah.
Wow. Those dream homes are always so disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like you won the lottery and you bought like a double wide in Florida. Why did you do that?
It's because they get people that won like $1 million before taxes, and then
True.
it's not.
It's true.
It's a bait and switch is what it is.
Yes, correct. But that show is really fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the man who laid Jeffrey off was his boss and former Hazan Imports VP, Mark Ercolino. And it sparked a nearly year-long cycle of harassment that made it all the way to the courts. This is a quote from The Guardian. Quote, Police Commissioner Ray Kelly said Johnson had gone back to his former place of work regularly since being laid off. There was a confrontation with Ercolino virtually every time he went back. He added that both men had filed harassment complaints against each other in April of 2011. So not that long before... Well, no, almost a year before the shooting. Though the dispute escalated after the firing and had apparently been brewing even before because Ercolino had refused to promote Johnson's t-shirt line through the popular clothing company.
For St. Jolly's art?
St. Jolly's. You don't support me.
No one's taking St. Jolly's
St.
seriously.
Jolly's seriously. My clown degree.
Maybe I should wear a suit every day so people take me seriously.
Exactly.
I should wear a bean suit.
Oh my God, I can't wait for my bean suit.
Roll that beautiful bean footage, John.
Yes. This really pissed Johnson off, sparking multiple incidents of violence in the workplace. One incident that was reported to the police happened inside an elevator when Johnson threw his elbow at Ercolino, who responded by grabbing Johnson's throat and threatening him.
In an elevator?
In an elevator. They both of these incidents happened in the elevator. In another incident in April of 2011, shortly before he was fired, Johnson reportedly told Ercolino, "I'm going to kill you," while on the elevator.
Ugh.
Because both of these incidents took place out of sight of coworkers, many didn't realize how serious the issue was between these two men.
I am going to start to have all of my fights in an elevator from now on.
Absolutely.
And then
just
when
go
you just never
full-
know when you have to just completely stop and act normal and wait till
Wasn't
the
that
other
what
person-
happened with
Solange.
Beyonce and Solange
Yeah.
and JC? Yeah. So brilliant.
There are
But-
cameras.
Yep. But not at this time. This was
Right.
in the, I mean, no, I guess
2011?
there would have been cameras, but I don't know if there were, they probably didn't have audio in the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the footage was probably used in the complaints that were filed, but it would be impossible
know
to
what was said.
to know what they were saying and to corroborate the death threats, so that they probably couldn't be as the charges or whatever complaint couldn't be as serious as it probably should have been, and no witnesses were there to hear it. So, but things went very public and very deadly when that fateful morning, wearing an olive green suit, carrying a briefcase, Jeffrey Johnson once again left his apartment dressed for a job he hadn't held in a year.
Oh my God.
He timed his arrival at the Empire State Building's Fifth Avenue entrance so that he could intercept his former boss, Mark Ercolino. He kept his presence hidden, squatting behind a parked van so that Ercolino couldn't see him waiting there.
Ugh.
Once he got eyes on him, he emerged from behind the van, pulled his .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun from his suit coat pocket, pointed the gun directly at Ercolino's head, and fired 2 shots, hitting him once in the face and once in the chest.
Oh
Yikes.
my God. Just in the middle of the street.
Middle of the street,
Rush hour.
bustling
In front of the
rush
Empire
hour.
State Building.
Oh. He didn't care who saw that.
Well, he didn't care who saw, and we'll get to it. It gets crazy. Mark Ercolino was dead before he hit the ground, and once the victim fell to the ground, Johnson stood over him and fired at him 4 more times.
Oh.
My God.
As panic ensued on the bustling street, Johnson quietly packed his handgun away in his briefcase and started to make his way east on 33rd Street, where he was followed by a construction worker who'd witnessed the entire incident and police who were already stationed at the entrance of the Empire State Building as part of their regular shift.
It's a
This
very
is post
brave
9/11
construction worker.
Yeah, for real. The construction worker didn't have to I don't think ever confronted or interacted with him,
No,
but wanted
to
to
keep
know
tabs on him so he didn't just
exactly.
disappear.
Precisely. He was following him from a distance so that he could let police know where he was headed.
I'd like to think I would do that.
I probably wouldn't.
If I didn't have to interact with him, just keep eyes on him.
I think
I'd
there's-
just be crawling under a car
Yeah.
and hoping I don't die.
right.
When confronted by the 2 officers, Johnson raised his weapon but didn't fire. The officers fired with a total of 16 rounds, killing Johnson. And in the process of opening fire on Johnson, the officers hit 9 bystanders who were
Oh.
out on the street,
Jesus Christ.
all of whom needed medical intervention, but thank God weren't killed. A couple spent the night or 2 in
Oh
hospital.
my God.
So most of their
Yep.
rounds hit innocent bystanders.
correct.
Wow.
This is a quote from ABC News. Johnson had 2 live rounds in his .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol when he was shot, police said. They initially believed the gun had misfired. However, Commissioner Raymond Kelly said investigators have examined the weapon and concluded that Johnson did not try to fire on police. Bystanders caught in between the gunman and a spray of bullets were injured by a combination of ricochets and bullet fragments. Witness George King told ABC News he watched several people around him get struck by bullets. Quote, I heard multiple gunshots, I'd say about 12 of them. I thought they were firecrackers at first. I didn't know what was going on. Everyone started running for cover along with me. The girl that was running next to me fell down to the pavement, and when I looked at her, I could see that she had been hit in the leg. She was bleeding from the leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I noticed about 5 people who had been...
I mean, I understand, like, he had shot people. He was unpredictable.
He shot someone
and
in a targeted attack, and he raised his gun to police.
Right.
So I, like, get that they shot him, but they
all shot and kept shooting.
Yeah.
Like, you're trained...
Right. It's not...
It's
that's not
so
how it's supposed to work.
It's fucking stupid.
Creating
they could have
more
killed
damage
a lot
than
of
you're
people.
preventing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I noticed about 5 people who had been struck on the sidewalk or the street, he said. The officers were placed on administrative duty while a standard shooting review was conducted, and I don't have any info on whether they were actually punished for their Wild West response, but I can imagine the answer is nah.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back on Jeffrey's life, folks couldn't understand what led Jeffrey Johnson to this point. And really the rest of this is from this really heartbreaking piece from the New York Times where they interviewed his mother, who didn't give her name. She and her husband, his dad, were still alive at the time of this interview, but they had not seen their son in like a couple decades.
Oh.
And they still lived in Georgia, and they like didn't even want to give their first names or where in Georgia they lived for their own privacy.
Maybe it was the watermelon capital of the world.
Probably.
Maybe.
Alibi
Maybe.
or whatever it was called.
So in this interview, she's reflecting on her son's life and like her reactions to this. And this is kind of where some of the speculation of like why this might have happened comes in. So from the New York Times, it says, quote, she learned of her son's involvement the same way that most had. On Friday morning, she and her husband were watching the news on television. The couple heard the name Jeffrey Johnson and caught the words Hazan Imports, the business on West 33rd Street where their 58-year-old son had designed women's t-shirts. Right away, they knew, she said. I know there are a lot of Jeffrey Johnsons in the world and a lot of Jeffrey Johnsons in New York City, but when they said the company he used to work for, I went to pieces.
Yeah.
I don't blame police in New York for shooting my son because he killed somebody, but for me, he hasn't changed. He's still the kind-hearted, caring person who loved all kinds of animals, and I'm sure he loved us. She said through sobs. This poor woman.
Yeah.
You know, a mother always tries to look for the best in you. Miss Johnson believes that her son wanted the officers to kill him. Quote, I believe that he turned and pointed the gun at them to make sure that they would shoot him and that he would die,
Yeah,
she said. And that he never intended to shoot them.
Suicide by
cop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Racking her memory for any kind of sign of what was to come, she recalled an incident when Jeffrey was only 11 years old and he had been hit by a car while outside playing and was nearly killed. In the accident, he suffered serious head trauma, putting him in a coma for 5 agonizing days, and she and her husband were told by doctors to prepare for him not to make it.
Shit.
I know. I can't, like, that's horrific. I can't even imagine being a parent and just waiting and hoping. She wondered if this eventually caused him to snap, though she isn't confident his behavior changed much in the aftermath of the accident. Quote, the doctors told me once that they would be very surprised if he didn't have any after effects, she said, but he seemed to recover all the way. He was not acting funny, but you know, when you get older, your body, especially if you're injured, will kind of deteriorate. So I don't know.
So did they do an autopsy and like look for signs of CTE or not?
I don't believe
Yeah.
so.
No autopsies in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they did, that was not reported on in any of the multiple
Literature.
articles that I read. Yeah.
So do we know why he didn't have a relationship with his parents for so long?
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, sort of. We'll cover some of that.
Okay.
She added, this may be some kind of excuse. I don't understand what snapped in him to do what he did. Mm-hmm. She also recalled how deeply troubled he was by the loss of his cat, Romeo, who died in his arms, wrapped in Jeffrey's best and favorite Fenty suit jacket. Fendi suit jacket, excuse me. He had written to his mother after Romeo's passing, saying, quote, I am astonished by how much I miss him. He just filled every room in the apartment. Nothing seems special without him around. It embarrasses me that I feel this way. Life is bigger than one cat or me or you, but I can't shake the feeling that life has been diminished tenfold by Romeo's parting. Don't worry, the letter ended. I am all right, Jeffrey.
Aw.
Clearly you're fucking not, Jeffrey.
No, and it's okay to mourn the loss of a pet.
Of course it is.
Especially a cat
But
that died in your arms, in your
Yeah,
favorite
but-
jacket.
I mean, yes, the cat was also euthanized. So like that was a planned, like, one of my dogs died in my arms too, but it's because the vet lets you hold them. But yeah, it's not, I mean, it wasn't sudden. And also like, I get it. Obviously I've mourned the passing of many pets. It is a very real thing. And it's obviously not an excuse for what this fucking guy did.
it's, I don't think that's a cause. I honestly think that might be a symptom
I think
the
for
loneliness and isolation
yes.
he was already experiencing.
Exactly.
And she's just trying to mention things that could have played a role.
For sure.
Right.
His poor mother is just
She's
trying to make sense of all of this.
Explanations.
And she is allowed to do that 1,000%. And even the veterinarian who had treated Romeo expressed concern about Jeffrey's mental health because of how he was responding to his cat's end of life.
Oh.
Yeah, so he was clearly very upset.
The vet is probably concerned about my mental health because of how I bitched them the fuck out for not taking care of Josie for 15 hours.
I think that that's probably fair. And I don't think that I don't think you're the first person to bitch at them about something like that, probably. So his mother thought of his service in the Coast Guard, where he became an expert marksman, and of how a talent that he had been put to such a regrettable use. But she expressed relief that no one else had been shot by him. Like, it was obvious that he only wanted to take out this one guy.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Not to excuse it at all.
Not to excuse it. It's only like a silver lining that it wasn't a mass shooting
Because
until the
he
fucking
was a
police
great
officers
marksman.
Narrows
opened
down
fire.
the
Could have been another
motivation.
Vegas
Exactly.
situation.
It was a clear motive. He had it out for this specific person, and he was not trying to take down anybody else. That's the only thing.
Was he ever deployed? Was he ever in like active? Had he ever
No.
killed anyone else? Is what I'm
No,
getting.
I
at.
don't
he was
believe
in the
so.
Coast Guard.
Yeah, he was in the Coast Guard. And we'll kind of get to that. So, though she had not seen him for 22 years, he had not returned home to Georgia since 1990. And I don't think his parents had any interest in going to New York. I don't think they really liked the big city. But Jeffrey used to call her every Sunday. He rarely spoke about his work and never told her that he had been laid off. Instead, he told her that he quit because he didn't get along with a coworker. So mother and son actually had a bit of a falling out around this conversation because his mom asked him if he needed money and wondered how he could afford to live in New York City without a job. And like, also she's Japanese, and it's like very much in Asian culture that your children provide for and care for your parents as they age.
And not the other way around.
And he is also half Japanese and obviously was raised at least 50% within Japanese culture. And so this like really hurt him right in the ego. And other than like a courtesy call on her birthday, he stopped his Sunday calls and like wasn't talking to them
Because
for
she
like
dared offer to help him.
for months and months. Yep. Quote, that just made him very angry, she recalled. He said, Mama, by right, I ought to be building a house for you. That's what the firstborn should do. He always had a self-guilt that he didn't take care of his parents the way he wanted to. So at the end of the day, there's no way to know exactly what caused him to snap, though I do have my theories. Like I mentioned before, he was briefly married, but I think there is actually a possibility that he was gay and that he repressed his true self and went like deep into patriotism, part of why he signed up for the Coast Guard. And he was like deeply affected by 9/11 and wanted to re-enlist, but was told that he was too old. So then he throws himself into his like one remaining passion, his art. And then he's fired, which further isolates his jolly tease. So that further isolates an already pretty like antisocial, I guess I might not be using that term, introverted person. And then blamed like all of the shortcomings of his life on his former boss and just like fixated until he lost it. And that like, if I can take this person out, then it'll all be over.
Yeah.
You know, that's my theory.
I think there definitely were other issues a brewing for
1,000%.
a long time.
Could have easily been a TBI from the car accident that just
It could have been.
exacerbated all of this.
Do we know why he was fired, he was laid off, but it sounds like that wasn't personal necessarily.
He was convinced that it was personal because of existing issues with his boss. And then when it came time to downsize, he felt targeted.
Right.
So like, yes,
so there
other people
were already
were also,
those issues with the boss.
Yes, they had those like confrontations in the elevator. That happened before he was laid off.
Yeah. A lot of times you're laid off, but that's just a very convenient timing for someone to get rid of you.
Right. Right.
So yeah, other people I think were also laid off, but I don't think that many were. And he was just convinced that like you were just waiting for your opportunity to get rid of me.
Well, that would have been in 2010. Not a great time economically.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, he was laid off in 2011 and then the shooting was in 2012. But still, like it was still a very tumultuous, like the decade after, you know, or everything after 2008 has been.
But equally,
kinda
if
rough.
he had been mentally well, he could have, you know, picked
Got
himself
another
back
job.
up, got a different job, whatever. And
And so the walls are closing in. He's gone almost a year without working. He's like pretending
he doesn't
to
want
go
to
to
take
work
money
every
from his
day.
family. He can barely even talk to his family anymore because he's so embarrassed.
He's embarrassed. Yeah, I think I think this is a man who had a history of hiding parts of himself. And it all
and
just
self-isolating
became
when stressed and
correct. I think it all just became way too much.
of a pressure cooker, and he snapped and murdered an innocent person who was just trying to like make a business decision. And like, yeah, if you bitch slap your boss in an elevator, you're probably not going to keep your job.
Yeah, you're probably going to get on the chopping block when downsizing rolls around.
I would also venture to guess, too, that his divorce probably played a role in his social life. Like, usually
Very
when you get a
possible.
divorce, your friends kind of
Yeah, or
pick
you
a
at least
side or
lose a
go away
pocket
entirely.
Yeah, you lose a pocket of your friends that were more associated with that partner. That's totally fair. The divorce was like I think he got married like either during or right after college. So the divorce was a considerable amount of time
Before.
prior, and I think that was when he was in Florida.
Oh,
and
okay.
he was in New York at this point, and he'd been in New York for a long time.
Okay. It can still be hard to bounce back.
1000%. But yeah, isn't that fucking
Oh,
weird?
the putting on the suit and going off to work every day when
very
you're not
creepy.
going off to work every
For
day
the
is
benefit of
terrifying.
your neighbors seeing
yeah, your
you,
neighbors. Like, people don't
pay
They
think
don't
about
care.
you that
No,
much.
they don't care.
Yeah, that's
it's just
the weird
it's
part.
totally in his head that like
To save face
he's experiencing
against
this
these
shame.
strangers.
Yeah, that nobody else is putting on him.
Yeah,
Like nobody is putting that on him. He's just
invented all of
I
it.
think
Yeah.
he internalized so much of these pressures. Him not having money, his mom offering to help him. That's a cultural thing. But at the end of the day, doesn't actually exist outside of that.
right.
You're internalizing all of these perceived pressures, and that just it was too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And maybe he felt guilty about his cat. If it was euthanized, it was probably sick. And any kind of euthanization, you probably feel guilty about.
He did feel guilty. There's some more stuff about the cat that I didn't include, but like he wrote this like 2-page letter to his mom after the cat was put down, just kind of like expressing all of his feelings. And he had talked in that letter about how like Romeo had been trying to tell me that he was sick and like I didn't listen, and then it was too late. And then my cat had to be put down. Like he carried a lot of shame and a lot of guilt about things that like may or may not have really even been in his control. Like, sure,
well,
you could have
it's
taken a
interesting because in a way he was trying to tell the world and his family that he was sick and nobody listened.
He euthanized himself. Euthanasia by cop.
At the end of the day, he kind of did.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we dissected the fuck out of that one.
We really did. Careful about your relationship with your cat, Lucy. I don't want you to go completely off the deep end when
Where'd they go?
one of them. Oh God.
Go cuddle your
Go
cat.
check on your cat.
I gotta go.
Okay. Well, it's always the quiet ones. That means it's Ghostface and definitely not Ray.
It's definitely Ghostface. She's the murderer of the household for sure.
Oh God. All right. I have to
I
go.
love her.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Bye bye.